that Nigeria should return to regionalism, or if the North is not ready, perhaps Nigeria should disintegrate?
Well, to me, it's a two-way street. So what works for us in the past might not work for us presently. So I think they hold their own personal view on what they feel, Nigeria should return back to, regionalism. But I think presently, that might not, really work for the country.
So conclusively, am I safe to say if Nigeria were to divide into three, the Ogoja man would be in Biafra?
Mm.
Just one word.
Well, I don't see the Ogoja man, belonging to Biafra because there's a lot of cultural differences, that sit, with the Biafra people. So Ogoja man has his own way of doing things. So in terms of, how he celebrates his own marriage, how, his own, cultural dance and all of that, I think there's a clear difference. So I don't see, an Ogoja man, becoming a Biafra.
So can Ogoja stand independently considering their population, their geographical location, if Nigeria were to disintegrate?
Yeah, very well. After all, Ogoja is one of the oldest provinces that has not been made a state yet. So the Ogoja nation can actually stand on its own. I so believe because we have what it takes. So I mean we can actually even fit that bill of becoming the food basket of the nation.
So independent of the Hausa, of the Yoruba, and of the Igbo, Ogoja and Ogoja alone.
Yes, Ogoja and Ogoja alone. I so believe.
Let us know your name, sir.
My name is Mr. Kings.
Okay, we are looking at yesterday protest. We understand that Nigerians have been expressing displeasure with respect to the way the country is being governed, particularly the issue that has to do with government policy on removal, subsidy removal on gasoline and unification of FS at the official window. We are meeting Nigerians to know what they feel, because yesterday there was serious repression, oppression, and suppression of decent voices while people try to express their constitutional right of protest. We understand that Section 50 of the 1999 Constitution guarantee Nigerians the right of peaceful protest. Let us get a view with respect to suppression of decent voices in Nigeria.
Well, the protest actually is in order because that is just the only way the ordinary man can ventilate his anger towards bad government policies. Uh, but regarding the issue of forex unification, I think that was a policy in order, but I think the timing too wasn't too good. So that is why prices of commodities in the market have actually escalated. So, but since the country is not actually producing, so we believe that there should be somehow a regulation in the exchange market. So instead of allowing market forces to take full control, so there should be a kind of regulation in that regards.
Okay, let us look at the impact the policy having on Nigerian economy. We are seeing some multinationals leaving the country. The recent is happening with PZ, which cited the issue of forest as a major reason for exiting Nigerian economy. We had the likes of GSK leaving the country. The list continues. But let us look at, because some experts have argued that the government ought to have tarried until a time where we start producing enough to have export from other areas to earn also foreign exchange before unifying our efforts at the official one.
Well, it's a sad one, for those major players in the economy, living at this point in time. So we are not surprised because their production cost has actually gone high, and so um, them remaining in business is actually a difficult one. So I think government should do something about it, to actually meet them at the middle somehow, so that they cannot completely leave. So if there's any way government can meet them halfway, I think it will be for the benefit of the country, because the pharmaceutical products, especially drugs, we can see the prices of drugs have gone so high that the common man can no longer afford health for himself. So I believe government should actually, do something in that regard. Thank you.
Okay, let us look at the presidential speech yesterday. I'm talking about Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who is the president of the Nigeria and the commander of the armed forces. Some people already call him a liar because he said the way and means through which a Buhari government borrowed money from CBN that run into about 30 trillion naira to solve issue of Nigeria have been paid. But some people who went on fact check say Tinubu is a liar, that Nigeria have not paid that money. What's your reaction?
What I'll tell Nigerians is they should be patient with, President Bola Tinubu. So I believe in him, and I know he's doing things, to get the country back on track. So Nigerians should be a little bit more patient with him, and let's believe in his leadership. So I believe sooner, the country is going to bounce back to its winning ways.
The Bible actually say woe to him that put his trust in man, but away from that, let us look at the initial promises made by this government. Initially, Abiniso, they made us understand that they were going to give a roller vehicle that run on CNG, that they were going to give about 50,000 to a good number of a good number of nano business owners, that they were going to give 1,500,000 naira, 500,000 each to a good number of small and medium scale enterprises. They even told us that they were going to give 1 billion each to about 75 companies as a way of galvanizing economic activities and improving our GDP to get more people employed so that they can ease the suffering of Nigerians. But more than 1 year after that promise, the government still keep on foot dragging. And these are caused Nigerians, made Nigerians to start disbelieving this government. Do you still believe the government is in the face of all these broken promises?
Actually, getting the CNG to work in Nigeria, the presidential initiative. So I think, so far from the advertorials, they have put out there, I can say for sure that, they are really working. So it will just take some time, to get, all buses, to run on CNG, so that, transportation can actually, cost on transportation can actually be driven down. So I think it will only take just some time because, to get the infrastructures on ground. So it is just not some. This is a new area of a new area. We are actually, diversing. So it will just take, just some time to get things done.
Okay, let me take you to the area of agitation. I'm talking about people going by way of self-determination. We understand by that there is a UN charter that Nigerian government is a signatory to. Of course, that law is an international law. It has been ratified in Nigeria. That makes it a legal, that makes it operational in our legal jurisprudence. Bible said that some people have criticized this government heavily. I'm talking about Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu for allowing a Sunday Igboho go out of captivity of government and holding Nnamdi Kanu behind the dungeon of EFCC. Sorry, DSS. Yesterday, Shore echoed it while he was addressing the press. He said he believed that Nnamdi Kanu should be let go. Recently, we have seen in the recent past where the former judge that was handling the case, I'm talking about Justice Binta Nyako, initially asked the parties to see whether they could reach out of court settlement. And we have seen the lives of Inana Baribe leading the senator from the southeastern part of the country, meeting the Attorney General of the Federation to see whether they could reach an agreement so that Nnamdi Kanu could come out of that detention. But up to this moment, the judge has handed off the case, and we don't know the direction we may be looking towards as it stands. What is your point? What is your take on this?
Well, I will ask the government to trade with caution, regarding Nnamdi Kanu's case. Issue of self-determination according to UN Charter. So these are, fundamental, human right issues. So, but, in Nnamdi Kanu's, case, I will ask government, to actually, allow the law, take its course. They should allow, the court process, to run, instead of keeping him, endlessly in detention. So the court, should determine, his trial. So that is my take on that.
Okay, now another away from that, let us briefly look at our electoral system. Because people have argued that the bane of our malpracticing malpractices in our electoral system is the discretionary power given to INEC to determine the mode of transmission of election results. And of course, that is what made parties to drag INEC to court in the 2023 presidential election. We are seeing an election in Edo State, of course, an obstacle election, where parties are already showing sign of dissatisfaction with respect to the process. Would you like the Electoral Act to be amended in such a way that INEC do not have the liberty to determine the mode of transmission of election results, so that the Constitution will compel INEC to transmit the election results electronically?
Of course, that is the way to go. You know, we actually need to deepen the process, the Electoral Act, particularly. So, to me, I feel INEC should be broken down into units so that they can actually function. So you can't leave them with issue of to handle logistics, uh, to do the transmission of electioneering, and then other areas. So I believe uh, the the they should deepen the electoral process more, so that we can get full we can actually get INEC to function fully.
Okay, before I let you go, let me ask you this question, because before the election of that Edo gubernatorial election, I had a situation where the president, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, was addressing some party faithfuls. I was asking them, do you want Edo back? They said yes. And he said, and the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I will give it to you. Of course, stakeholders have condemned that, of course, that is becoming of a leader. And people begin to wonder, where did the president derive power to decide who to give a state to in an election that is supposed to be contested and won on the basis of numerical strength? But as we have it, INEC already declared APC candidate the winner and returned elected. Do you join in condemning Mr. President's statement, or you applaud him?
Well, in that regard, I want to believe that Mr. President was taken out of context. You can't, put away, the people of Edo State, out of the equation, because power belongs to the people and not Mr. President. So the Edo people have decided, and then today we can see what happened in Edo. So I think Mr. President was actually taken out of context, because he can do little or no, or he can actually do little in determining who becomes the governor of Edo, or even at the local government level. He can't actually decide who to bring in, because power belongs to the people.
Okay, finally on this, some people have argued that by providence that Nigeria was never created to be one by God, looking at the culture of the people, looking at the language, looking at the religion and all that. Of course, the Hausa have different language from the Igbos, Yoruba, the same thing, and vice versa. Some people have argued that if Nigeria were to divide into three, that everybody will have where they will fall into. Understand you are from the south, just like myself. If Nigeria were to divide into three, where will you be?
Well, I think the issue of statism has actually settled the regionalism issues we practiced in the past. So we don't pray that Nigeria should go back to regional basis. So I think we should remain at the state level we are. So the issue of statism has actually taken over from the regional government thing. So I don't wish that we should go back to regional government or regional system. So I think the state of origin, it's okay, so that because it gives the minority group or the minority ethnic nationality, a sense of belonging. So against the majority ethnic nationalities. So I think the issue of statism has actually settled a lot of that.
Okay, I was asking this in the light of the submission of a former Secretary of Commonwealth. I'm talking about Making Enyako, who said that Nigerian plurality demands that we go by way of regionalism. And this is a man who have had experience with about 52 countries. I'm talking about countries that comprise of the Commonwealth. Speaking in this direction, we have had the likes of Adebanjo, even Sanwo-Olu, the likes of this former president of NBA, Olise Abokoba, speaking in the same direction. Don't you think they have there is merit in that argument that Nigeria should return to regionalism, or if the North is not ready, perhaps Nigeria should disintegrate.
Well, to me, it's a two-way street. So what works for us in the past might not work for us presently. So I think they hold their own personal view on what they feel, Nigeria should return back to, regionalism. But I think presently, that might not, really work for the country.
So conclusively, am I safe to say if Nigeria were to divide into three, the Ogoja man will be in Biafra?
Mm.
Just one word.
Well, I don't see the Ogoja man, belonging to Biafra because there's a lot of cultural differences, that sit, with the Biafra people. So Ogoja man has his own way of doing things. So in terms of, how he celebrates his own marriage, how, his own, cultural dance and all of that, I think there's a clear difference. So I don't see, an Ogoja man, becoming a Biafra.
So can Ogoja stand independently considering their population, their geographical location, if Nigeria were to disintegrate?
Yeah, very well. After all, Ogoja is one of the oldest provinces that has not been made a state yet. So the Ogoja nation can actually stand on its own. I so believe because we have what it takes. So I mean we can actually even fit that bill of becoming the food basket of the nation.
So independent of the Hausa, of the Yoruba, and of the Igbo, Ogoja and Ogoja alone.
Yes, Ogoja and Ogoja alone. I so believe.
I must say very big thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Pastor Matthew. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.